Welcome back to Sport Lab, the home of thrilling football breakdowns. Tonight, we're talking about an unforgettable night at Villa Park, where Aston Villa produced a heroic fight back to beat PSG 3-2, but it wasn't quite enough. Over two legs, the French champions edged it 5-4 on aggregate to reach the Champions League semi-finals. Let's dive into all the drama.
What a second half we had. Aston Villa right back in it. Ezri Konsa with the third of their goals on the night. They needed just one more to take it through to extra time, and in the dying moments of the game, Maatsen had a shot, a chance. Pashao blocked it, and it was PSG who made through. And that means that the road to Munich is looking a little bit clearer after tonight, because Paris Saint-Germain will play the winners of Arsenal. Real Madrid, of course, who play tomorrow night on the other side of the draw. Barca have completed their task. There was a Dortmund comeback, though, tonight, but it is Barcelona who will play either Bayern Munich or Inter. Of course, Inter host tomorrow evening, and they would be the favourites to go through from that one. Disappointed Aston Villa fans, disappointed Aston Villa players tonight, because it has been an incredible adventure in the Champions League for them this season, a royal adventure, but they just couldn't make it through to that semi-final. Let's have some reaction now. Ezri Konsa is with Gabriel Clark.
Ezri, commiserations. You're watching the pictures, so much emotion. Is it pride? Is it regret? What is it?
No, look, very proud of the boys of what we've done tonight. Obviously the two goals at the start killed us, but we showed great belief, great character to get back into the game, and look, we won the second leg, but unfortunately it wasn't enough.
What changed in the second half?
I couldn't tell you, man. I just felt like, we at half time, we had nothing to lose. That's what we said in there. We wanted to go out there and just prove a point. The boys dug deep, we pressed well. I think you could see that. And we had chances, we did. And I think I scored the hardest one, but look, it is what it is, and we move on.
Yeah, when you scored at 3-2, what are you thinking? Half an hour to go.
Yeah, we're gonna get another one. And it looked that way. We was applying a lot of pressure. Obviously, Maatsen had that chance at the end, which was blocked off the line. So, look, I don't think we could have done anything more.
Yeah, did you score the harder one? Because obviously you score that excellent goal to make it 3-2, and then there's another chance, isn't there?
Yeah, one of those ones, missed the ball. It happens, part of football, but yeah, nothing I can do.
Yeah, I mean, I know here you feel you've got Emi Martinez as the best in the world, but Donnarumma tonight.
Yeah, made some excellent saves, and look, he's one of the best for a reason.
So what do you take from this as a group? Obviously, I suppose the key lesson, if you like, is let's make sure we get in this competition next year.
100%. I think we showed tonight that we can compete at the highest level, and we want to do it again next season.
Thank you, Ezri.
Thank you very much.
Keep going.
Great disappointment at half-time in the way Villa had set about in that first half, but how pleased are you, Daniel, that they're going out having shown that performance in the second?
I mean, look, they'll be disappointed but proud of their performance in the second half. Certainly, they came out and gave it their best shot. Structurally, defensively, they were a lot more sound as well. They were brave, and it was those chances that you talked about in the interview there where you're thinking maybe this could be going to extra time or they could win the game. In everything that they gave in that second half, they can be proud of themselves. Look, they've probably done a lot more than everyone would have anticipated anyway. But to get to this point, and you're probably 20 minutes away from getting through, you think you probably go home disappointed. And
there were chances, Ashley.
There was plenty. We said it at half-time, they had to be a bit more sound at the back and tighten up, and they done that. And when you're scoring a couple of goals and you're creating more and more chances, you're thinking there's going to be another one that comes. And I think Ez will be disappointed with the header. I think there was one that Pau Torres took off Amadou's head. It is disappointing, but they can also be proud as well. Like Daniel just said there, everybody wouldn't have thought they would have got this far in the competition. They could be proud of what they've done, especially in the second half. But I think they'll look back after the game and think, if our first half performance was different, could the game been a bit different?
Absolutely. Let's go back to that first half, but not to the PSG goals. Let's go back to Tielemans to make it 5-1. And at this point, you're thinking 5-2. This makes it. You're thinking, okay, there's a chance here.
Yeah, I still don't think you think there is a chance, if I'm being honest.
There's hope.
Yeah, there was a little bit of hope, and they get the goal just before half-time, and a little bit fortunate with the goal, but I think how Villa come out for the second half was excellent. They come out with a energy, a belief, and as Konsa just said in the interview there, they felt like they had nothing to lose, but I think that, as the lads are saying, they'll be proud of the performance, but I think they'll be really disappointed as well, because I think the goals the first half are really avoidable, and that's what's cost them. Ultimately, that's cost them the tie. The goals they conceded in the first half was sloppy and nowhere near good enough at this level, and that's ultimately what's cost them.
And Clarence, the energy they showed in the second half, particularly in that 20-minute period or so where the goals came and the chances came.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think the energy in the first half was probably better, but the organisation was better in the second half. They were more patient, there was more balance, and this is the lack of experience. You have been in those matches to understand you don't have to go and do crazy stuff in the first 20 minutes. Yeah, they had the personality since the beginning to play the ball. I think Paris Saint-Germain was a little bit lazy, and they took advantage. And then the luck comes also to your side when you do the right things, you make the right decisions. You need a bit of luck, but you go for the chance, you get the shot, you get the goal, and then of course the energy changes, right? When you're getting closer to recover the gap. But I think really the difference in the second half was more patience. Make sure you don't get that goal. I mean, 90 minutes it's a long time, and 45 minutes is a long time, and we saw it. They had another 20 minutes to score just the last goal, and it didn't come, unfortunately.
Did we see a bit of fragility about PSG tonight that perhaps we haven't in this Champions League of late? It's the first time they've conceded 3 goals since last May.
Yeah, well, we've said it before as well. Paris Saint-Germain is also a young team, so but you need to play it right with them, and that's why I do expect them to face some more difficulties, because it's the reading of the game in the moment of the game. You cannot really prepare that, right? You do your things as a coach, your tactics and everything, but then you need to read the game during the match as a player and as a team.
OK, if Tielemans maybe was hope, tell me what Konsa was. At that point, did you start to think, are they going to do this?
Yeah, 100%. I think they were on the front foot. PSG were rocked. And Villa were going for them. I have to say, I have to give a massive shout out to Marcus Rashford. I thought he was fantastic. The Rashford we've seen over the years, and you see here his skill, his ability of getting at players, driving at players, and then his awareness to pull the ball back. But when this goal goes in, you could feel it, the crowd, the atmosphere. You could see it in the Villa players. They had that belief that they could get back in the tie, and they probably just ran out of energy. They give a lot to that 20 minutes. Probably just ran out of energy, and PSG seeing the game out well. But as I said, a fantastic effort from Villa players. The fans were excellent. Got right behind them, and unfortunately, they just fell short.
Yeah, they have to this match, this whole year experience in the Champions League. I think Daniel said it before the match, to build further, right, for the next years to come, because you cannot just throw this away. This is a great achievement, and the experience is so important. Hopefully they can keep the team together as much as they can and reinforce in some places.
We done it before we won the Champions League. We done it a couple of years where we got to semi. Clarence and Milan knocked us out, and that was really good experience for us to feel that, to feel the atmosphere in the San Siro, to feel the pressure of them games. So I think Villa, as Clarence said, Villa need to take tonight and the previous leg last week and really use that for next season, because that will really help them.
And you get a taste of it, I assume, as well.
Yeah, of course you do. You know, Villa have had a massive taste this season, especially, like you say, how far they've come. I don't think anybody would have said when they got into the Champions League that would they have got this far. But look, when you get a taste of it like they have, especially when you're going into the second leg, and I think a lot of people would have wrote them off. Going into that second half, scoring the 2 goals, thinking there's another one coming. You know, you've got that taster now, and I think it's like everyone's alluded to, that, you know, you've got to take this and work on it from now. You know, you're going to be looking further ahead. You know, I know what the manager's going to be like. He's going to be thinking about this non-stop. But he's going to be telling the players what they've achieved this season and what they can go on and achieve more and more. And like you say, as long as they keep the team together, keep the squad together, you know, get a little bit more experience, and then, you know, see where they are next season.
Well, you've all talked about the chances. Let's have a little look at the best of them. And they came in a flurry, starting with Rashford.
Yeah, and, you know, throughout this game, they were so desperate for these moments. Could have chipped it maybe a little bit more. Of course, you know, he didn't get under it enough. The keeper did it amazing, though. You have to give the keeper more credit than maybe giving Rashford negativity. I think they were knocking and Donnarumma was answering. That's just what it was. He was, in this second half, Villa gave absolutely everything they could. Again, could have directed it a bit more, of course he could have, but look, this is probably the one for me. You're thinking one-on-one.
He scored 12 goals in 52 Champions League games as a sub, the most of any player. He's the one you put your money on him.
That's the one chance. If this one, of course, it's happened to the best of us, to be fair. I've done this before. I'm sure the guys on the panel will say they've done it as well. But look, they gave it everything, man. And this is, again, great defending. You have to give Paris credit for staying in the game as well mentally. And the goalkeeper staying full. Sometimes goalkeepers at times can let the game get the best of them too. Donnarumma was excellent in the second half. Give him total credit for the saves he made.
Yeah, those chances, those saves, the difference tonight. Maatsen at the end there, what would have been, what could have been, but the experience, Wayne, that this whole group takes from this journey this season. They've got a big game at the weekend in the Premier League against Newcastle, who are also vying for Champions League places. Keeping that energy going is going to be really important in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, they need to really let this go for the time being, because obviously they want to be in this competition again, so they've got a fight on the hands to finish it high enough in the league to make sure they do that. But yeah, they've been so close. They take really good experience from it going into next season if they can qualify. So I think the focus now has to be rest, recover and get ready for the weekend. That's the main thing for them now.
Yeah, and presumably you've all talked or alluded to experience. You get experience from these experiences, but do they need to bring some more experience into this squad?
I think possibly. Like you say, they've had this experience of the season being in Champions League, and I think a few more experiences. They might have done it differently in the first half, especially in their first 20 minutes. I don't think they would have been as gung-ho as they were if they've got more experience in the team. But like we said, they've got to dust themselves down. They've got a big game at the weekend. They want to get themselves into Champions League places. They've got a massive semi-final coming up. So, the season's not over. It's been a fantastic season, but I think they will be thinking about that first half and what went wrong.
It continues as well, right? Experience means also now, how do you get out of this defeat and turn things around and be ready again? Because that happens. We've seen there was only 1 week in between the last match and this match with Paris Saint-Germain as well. So that capacity to turn page will be part of that process. So it's not just the Champions League playing, but also how you deal with this moment.
And being competitive on multi-formats, being competitive still on three
Yeah, but I
formats
think
until
a big thing for them now is definitely finishing the Champions League, because, you see Asensio, Rashford, for them to keep them players, and I hope they don't. I hope Rashford goes back to Manchester United and performs like he did tonight, because that's what we all want to see as Man United fans. But to keep them players or attract players to play in the Champions League, they have to finish in the Champions League again, because this would be a waste if they don't finish in the Champions League spots this season.
Yeah, and that would be, a great shame, wouldn't it, for them to take this experience and not have another go. And we saw last season Arsenal get to the quarter-final stage, and they're hoping to push on after a 7-year absence, 6-year absence. And for Aston Villa, it's been much longer, hasn't it? So to even get to this stage after that gap, that period of time, is an impressive performance.
Yeah, of course it is, and that's what Unai will be telling the players there. I think we've come this far, but we don't want to just settle on this. We want to go further. We want to do much more. Like we've been saying, that he'll probably bring more experience in. He'll have that experience of what's gone on tonight, and like you're saying, you want to attract more players to the football club, and you want to do that in a way where you've got Champions League to offer them next season. So that's what they'll be looking to do. They'll be looking and concentrating on this weekend's game. Dusting themselves down after tonight, getting disappointment out, like Clarence has said, and worrying about the league.
If we're being partial rather than impartial, tomorrow night Arsenal have a chance to go through, and they've got that 3-goal lead, of course, against Real Madrid. If they manage that, or whoever goes through, will they have looked at PSG's performance tonight and found places where they think they can exploit them in a semi-final?
The second half, certainly. It would have given people a slight blueprint, but every team's different. I think the management of the game for Villa in the second half will give teams an understanding of the problems they can pose PSG in possession and out of possession, because I think this is probably one of the first times I saw them rattled, especially we watched them against Liverpool and they were absolutely fantastic against Liverpool in both legs. Liverpool had their moments, but I think this game tonight, certainly in the second half, I didn't anticipate it would be like that. I think we all went in thinking, okay, it's probably game over, and Villa came out and were right at it. And as I said, did a more structured version of themselves in the first half and created chances, a lot more chances than we would have thought. They were brilliant in the second half, and that will give teams a quote-unquote blueprint for the second half performance that we can apply that to our game and potentially causing problems.
On balance, if you're looking back at this match with a few hours or a few days, is it the first half and conceding the 2 goals that they did that will be the thing that really grates and really kind of gets to you, or will it be missing those chances in the second half?
I think it's going to be the first half especially. The way they're about their job, set about their task. You know, it's just disappointing. It's crazy the way that, you know, the defenders were so wide apart. You know, people were not running back. People just jogging. You know, we saw a totally different team in the second half. You know, of course, the chances are going to take confidence out of creating the chances that they did against this Paris Saint-Germain team. But like I said, I think that the main thing is going to be looking back at the first half and, you know, the goals that they conceded in the manner that they conceded them is going to be the disappointing part.
I would say, attacking wise, for me, if I'm getting chances against a team like PSG, in these moments when you need one more to get through to potentially put it to extra time, I would rue the misses, because at the end of the day, look, we went in at half time and this was our situation. But on the flip side of that, we came out and based on what we did in the second half, we could have actually put ourselves in a position to be in extra time. From my side as an attacker, I would view it as if we took our chances, we could have potentially gone through.
Yeah, but I also think that if you're at home, you scored 3 goals, you
should be enough.
Yeah, it should be enough. So I think to give yourself a chance against the top teams, you have to focus, even though they're chasing the game before the game kicks off, your focus has to be, let's do everything we can to get a clean sheet, and then last 15, 20 minutes we can push if we need to, if we need 1 goal or 2 goals. Where I think Villa, in terms of conceding the 2 goals, and especially the way they conceded, it deflated everyone a little bit, and the goal before half-time lifted them, give them a little bit to play for. But for me, I'd be in there, if as a forward player, I'd be going in, saying to the defenders, what is going on? What?
You don't give us the time to score goals.
Now we need 4 goals instead of 2. So I would have looked at it the other way, but I think ultimately the right team went through over the 2 legs. I think PSG were the better team over the 2 legs.
Okay, let's get some reactions, shall we, from PSG. Marquinhos is here with Alex Aljo.
Marquinhos, parabéns às semi-finais contra o Arsenal ou Real Madrid. Como você se sente? Congratulations through to the semi-finals. How are you feeling?
Obrigado. Muito feliz, né? Sabíamos que iríamos enfrentar um time muito corajoso aqui. Sabíamos do poder deles. Isso é um Champions League. Champions League nunca está decidido no primeiro jogo. E conseguimos essa classificação que foi muito difícil. Começamos até que com um resultado bom, mas depois acho que caímos muito em rendimento, em dinâmica, em intensidade, e eles conseguiram fazer os gols merecidos, né? Mas assim também é a Champions, temos que saber sofrer, saber jogar com resultado difícil também no campo do adversário para que a gente possa passar a próxima fase.
Well, we knew it was going to be a difficult game. These Champions League ties are never won in the first leg, but we had belief. We came out strong, then they scored those goals in the second half. We kept up our intensity and we believed until the end that we're going to go through, and we're so happy. But this is the Champions League. The games are always going to be difficult. And não foi fácil, obviamente, como diz você, mas como avaliou o jogo da parte da Paris Saint-Germain? Quanta criança nesta equipe? Well, as you just said, it was a difficult game, but how would you sum up Paris Saint-Germain's performance? Because this is such a brilliant team, isn't it?
Sim, o Paris Saint-Germain tem uma filosofia de independente no nosso campo ou fora de casa também. A gente tem a nossa intensidade de jogo, temos a nossa filosofia de nunca se render, sempre buscar o resultado, sempre buscar pressionar, atacar, ter o controle do jogo. E é isso que a gente faz. Às vezes a gente consegue um pouco melhor, às vezes com dificuldades também, como foi hoje. Mas em todos os aspectos do jogo a gente está bem preparado pelo nosso treinador, muito bem treinado, sabemos defender, sabemos atacar, sabemos o que tem que fazer quando o jogo está difícil, né? E hoje, graças a Deus, o resultado foi nós, passamos.
We came into this game knowing that we had to play our game. Our manager tells us exactly what we want to do. We pressure, we play with a lot of intensity. We did that game. Yeah, it wasn't easy at times, and Aston Villa made it difficult for us, but we did what we needed to do, and we've gone through to the next round. Paris Saint-Germain pode ganhar Champions com este ano, na sua opinião. Do you believe that Paris Saint-Germain can win the Champions League this year?
A gente sabe que o caminho é longo, né? A gente vê nos jogos são muito difíceis. O próximo encontro também, independente de quem seja, Arsenal ou Real Madrid, vai ser também um jogo muito difícil e intenso, né? Decidido nos detalhes, né? Então a gente tem que ir passo a passo. Esse é o nosso sonho, esse é o nosso objetivo, né? Claro que um processo do Paris Saint-Germain com esse time jovem que a gente tem, mas a gente é capaz, a gente está mostrando a cada jogo, né? Mas a gente sabe que o título ainda está um pouco longe. A gente tem que primeiro se concentrar nessa semifinal, né? E isso aí, fazer o trabalho que a gente tem que fazer, crescendo como equipe, crescendo como grupo cada vez mais para chegar pronto para um possível duelo em uma final, né? Então, de passo a passo, eu creio que a gente vem num processo muito bom, mostrando o nosso poder, o nosso valor, né? E vai ser decidido em detalhes como foi hoje.
It's such a difficult competition, but we're getting better and better, and we're proving that we're such a good team. I think we've improved throughout the course of the season, but it's going to be such a difficult semi-final, which is our focus to begin with, whether it's Arsenal or Real Madrid. But of course, there is belief that this team, this Paris Saint-Germain team, can go all the way and win it this year. Obrigada por falar comigo e parabéns de novo. Thank you for speaking to me, and congratulations again, Marquinhos.
Thank you very much. See you.
You can speak English. Alex Aljo with her third language of the evening there. Right, Aston Villa's loyal, die-hard fans have been here and made some noise tonight, and they've seen their team give it all in the second half, but it just wasn't quite enough. And they go out of this Champions League campaign having not been beaten at home in the Champions League. In fact, they haven't been on a run like this, 18 matches unbeaten at Villa Park since 1990. And that kind of gives you a good impression of where things are going with Unai Emery and how he's changed the mentality around here, building this place into something of a fortress, Ashley.
You know, I think that's exactly what it is. It's the mentality that Unai Emery's brought into the club. All the players are brought into it. The fans bought into it after a little early start, and you know they respect him. The players respect him. The board respects him. The owners, everybody respects him, and they can see the vision that he wants for the club. The club has jumped so far from when he first come into now, and like you say, you got to take these experiences as much as you want and look to move forward. Look to move forward from them in a positive way. Like we said, tonight is obviously disappointing for them, but. You got to take the positives out of it, and like I say, the way you bounce back from it will show that.
And does it appear to you from the outside, Daniel, the players really buy into his dream, what he sees this team doing, his vision for this team?
Yes, and you have to. You have to, because, managers of his quality expect a certain level from you every single day on the training pitch, on the field. He wants you to understand his tactics. Of course, the best managers around the world want you to do that. Also, he has fantastic people behind the scenes as well. Munch is someone who everyone talks about from the recruitment perspective. So they identify, believe, can bring the club forward, which they've done with the likes of Rashford, Asensio, and the rest, Marlon as well, who joined the club. So they've done an incredible job in such a short space of time. And I can't wait to see where it goes from here, because they've done so much as a football club. It's an exciting time for the fan base and for the ownership and the players and the staff.
From what you've seen, Clarence, this season, does it feel to you like this is the start of a really good long run in Europe for Aston Villa? In terms of, season after season, coming back and...
Yeah, I mean, England is very competitive, so you might not play Champions League every year. Which is really not a crazy thing to think about. But I would like to really show respect for the ownership, because I think it starts by coming back into the Premier League. So there's a whole lot of years of work behind where they are now. And of course, Emery and all the other people who came in are adding the value now to make the step forward. But you shouldn't forget that the vision definitely exists already way before all of these people came in. And the buy-in comes with results. And I think what Emery brought is that actually we can win matches, actually we can be competitive. So he was just that probably element that was missing to fine-tune what effort this club has been building over the years.
And we saw, didn't we, with Newcastle United, when you have a long period of time without a trophy and what it can do to a club who is going in the right direction. For Villa to be in the semi-final of the FA Cup and still have that, tantalisingly there for them this season, how important that would be for Unai Emery to win that.
That's a massive importance for for the club, for Unai, the players, like you say, the owners as well. You know, they've bought into his vision. His vision is he wants to win a trophy here, whether that be domestically or whether that be in Europe. He wants to be playing Champions League every season and taking a team as far as they can go. Like we said, everybody would have said that when Aston Villa got into the Champions League, would they have come this far this season? You probably would have said no, but they have done. So they've got that experience, and like you say, that Unai Emery sees that the club can win a competition, and like you say, they're in the semi-final of the FA Cup, so why can't they go and win that?
Well, if you were just kind of being dispassionate looking at them tonight and through this season, what is it that they're just missing at the moment, do you think, to take them that step further?
Maybe just that know-how towards the end of the season, when you're coming into quarter-finals, semi-finals of competitions, you need that know-how and that experience, and that takes obviously time, and takes, you know, sometimes failing, sometimes losing in them games to be able to understand how to get through them moments. So, but they're definitely on the right step. I think over the last few years you've seen a really good progression with the football club, and players talk as well throughout, you know, Europe. Players talk, and I'm sure them PSG players will be going away from here saying, you know, what a great atmosphere it was, what a great occasion it was to play such a difficult game, and that you know, that gives players a feeling, oh, you know what,
entices others.
I'd like to go and play there. So I think tonight is not a good moment because they've gone out of competition, but I think it's a big moment for them for the next few years.
And we know Wayne wants Marcus Rashford back to Manchester United. Daniel, from what you've seen about how his performance tonight and across the season, I think he's got more assists than any other Villa player since he arrived. He's been galvanised, clearly. Do you think he would want to stay here and continue his journey with this team?
I don't know what he plans to do. I think every player on the football pitch, and they want their manager to have total belief in them as a football player. You know, he's been in these moments previously at Manchester United where he's playing week in, week out and feels full of life. And I think since he's joined Aston Villa, we're seeing that version of him again. This season, in the earlier parts, he wasn't himself. But I think now we're truly seeing him, you know, come back to himself again, playing with confidence, enjoying himself, which is important. So whatever he chooses to do next season is up to him and
the manager
and Manchester United too.
Likes him. He started him over Watkins again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the future's in Manchester United's hands at the end of the day because he's their player. He's here on loan, but he's going to have options, of course, if Manchester United don't want. But if I'm Manchester United and I'm looking at him and how he's performed here, you've got to say we've got to figure out how we can make this work.
Let's also say I don't think anybody needed to see him now how he plays. I mean, Rashford is a great talent, and probably it's more the club that needs to pull themselves together to understand how to, you know, value these players. I've been criticizing from far. I mean, if you have somebody like him on the team, how can you not make him feel important enough to make the difference for you? That was, you said it right. Here he's getting that love, so if Man U wants to bring him back, they will definitely need to make sure that he will feel important.
But this is what I was saying before when I was saying the Aston Villa need to attract, to keep continuing at the top level, they need to be able to attract top players. And Marcus Rashford has clearly felt that he's got better chance of winning trophies and performing better at Aston Villa than he has at Manchester United, which is a worry for Manchester United, but from Aston Villa's point of view, I think that's a positive sign. From Marcus's point of view, as I said before, you know, I really would want to see him like he was tonight, running around, you know, terrorising defenders, getting shots off, being a nuisance. Showed all his qualities tonight, especially in the second half. So, yeah, I think
the narrative before he came here was he's not the same player though. That was the narrative. He's proven everyone wrong. We have to give him credit. There was a big narrative out there that Marcus Rashford is not the same player, and Ruben Amorim is correct about everything about the player. But Marcus Rashford has come here and he's shown everybody once again, this is who I am, this is how I play, this is what I can bring to the table. And I think as a football player who sometimes when managers don't fancy her, it's down to you to show the manager, look, I'm good enough, this is what I can do. You've got to understand from the player's perspective, obviously we've all played the game, but sometimes as a player, you're not going to get the love from the manager, and on other times you say, okay, I'm either going to go on loan or I'm going to fight to get my spot and do what the manager wants me to do. And he's chose to come here and it's worked out for him. Sometimes you can make these decisions and it goes the other way and it doesn't work out for you, and then people question you even more. Manchester United don't want you, and then things go really bad. But I'm really proud of him that he's come here and he's shown everybody once again what he's all about, and he's done that. I'm proud of him.
Actually, you've spoken to him in those moments when he was making the decision about where he would go, and I know that you really are thrilled that he's managed to turn it around here. Do you see him going back to United?
It's like what Daniel said. He's only on loan here. Man United could get him back, could let him go again. It's down to obviously the manager and the owners there. I think in Marcus's head, he just wants to play football. When you've come on loan, you've done so well, and you've been given love by a manager. You know, you've tasted Champions League football. You're in a semi-final of FA Cup. You know, you're trying to get the club up back into the Champions League place in the league. You know, your confidence starts to come back as well, and you're enjoying your time here. Maybe he might be pushing to get to a club like Aston Villa, seeing where Unai Emery's vision is, seeing the owner's vision, to try and say to Man United, let me go and play, let me restart, let me have a reboot, which is what I think that he needed, why he come here on loan, to then go again. It will be down to obviously Man United whether they make that decision to let him go or not, but like you say, as a player, maybe he might be looking to come here.
Yeah, I don't know how much is up to Man United, honestly speaking, because if a player doesn't want to come back, why would you bring him back? So I think that Man United took a big risk to let him go in the first hand. I don't think they believed he would come back at this level. So I have a feeling he will stay.
But Marcus Rashford wants to play for Manchester United.
Yeah,
100. He's a Manchester lad, Manchester United fan,
of course.
And I think just over the last couple of years or 18 months or so, it's been difficult.
So does he want to play for Ruben Amorim?
No, I'm not saying that's the case, but he needed to play, and it was clear that he weren't going to play the rest of the season. I think we could all see that.
So you think it's just...
What's going to change next year? That's the question.
Yeah, but he's clearly shown. Sometimes you have to keep banging on that manager's door. You have to keep knocking the door and saying, listen, and put the manager in a position where he cannot leave you out. Marcus Rashford, in the ideal world, will want to play and leave a legacy at Manchester United. Whether that's possible, I don't know, but that's what I'd love to see as well.
Okay, well, we're obviously waiting for reaction from the Aston Villa manager, Unai Emery. It has been a frustrating night for him. His team came so close in that second half so many times to getting that all-important fourth goal on the night, which could have taken it through to extra time. And for a manager who's navigated so many successful seasons in Europe, that frustration was writ large, wasn't it? Gabriel Clark is with him now.
Unai, commiserations. There's a lot of emotions, I know. Is the overriding emotion pride? Is it regret?
Good evening. I am very proud of everything we did this year in Champions League. And to get this level is the next step forward. I want to try to build with Aston Villa. Today, of course, we played 2 legs. The first leg we compete well. It was not enough, and today we compete better even, and we were close to combat the result. But the last step forward, still, and this is my only circumstance. I want to try to work hardly for our next process here in Aston Villa. But today, fantastic how we were feeling here with our supporters here, the environment, the crowd was fantastic. They enjoyed, they transmitted their energy. As well, we played more or less, even we were 2-0, we were keeping the same idea on the field and we were coming by the result. And the last 25 minutes with the opportunity to draw this round. But still a little bit more to do better, to try to get.
But is the difference in the end Gianluigi Donnarumma?
Yes, he saved very good balls. Of course, in this level, every players, goalkeepers, players, they have a really huge level to play and to try to be protagonists. But as well, we were on the field and we were protagonists as well, playing individually with our skills.
At 3-2, with half an hour to go, did you think we will win?
I was focused to play. When we were losing 2-0, when we were 3-2 winning, I was focused our game plan with the players to try to get it. But I was not thinking we were winning or not. I was thinking only to play our game plan and keep being consistent in it.
Is the one regret the nature of the goals conceded in the first half?
No, because we were attacking, and they could take those transitions like they did, and they were clinical because they have very good players and very good faster players in the transition. But we knew it, and when we played there, we did different game plan, because we were trying to avoid the transition and trying to defend more lower than today. But today we take the new game plan, and we were pushing more. We were taking as well a lot of duels, individual duels, pressing them, and we knew the possibility as well to consider some transition. But even like that, at the end, we got then suffering like we did.
Is the key now then, through all this regret, but what has been achieved this season, it is essential your team get back into the Champions League in the course of the next 6 weeks or so?
Of course, it's now the most important is to get Europe again. Of course, to get Europe is our objective, because through Premier League is very difficult. But the most important competition is Champions League, and it's the more demanding objective we can have, and is to get again Champions League. But we have another very important opponent in Premier League to fight against them. But the challenge we have now is for the last 6 matches we are going to play, try to get Europe and try to get Champions League, and in case not, Europe League or Conference.
Marcus Rashford looked a player revitalised and has done here. Would you be confident Marcus would come to Aston Villa next season?
It's difficult to plan it now. Of course, progressively he's feeling comfortable, progressively he's feeling better. And today he played a fantastic match. And we are very happy. And of course, the most important is he's happy, and we are happy. If we are happy with him and he's happy with us, it's important in the process we have. And then, of course, it depends the circumstances from now, how is coming the next weeks and the next year as well.
It's been an amazing Champions League season. Congratulations on that, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, the one thing you take from that, I think, is that he is absolutely adamant and resolute that his strategy, his tactics, his game plan tonight was exactly executing the way he wanted it. He had no regrets.
Yeah, I don't think he'd have regrets, but I think just where he said there, we knew the PSG were very dangerous on transition. I just think first half, although what he's saying there, I think when he sits them players down and he goes through in the team meeting and reflects on the game, I'm sure he'll point out the 2 goals because the defending was nowhere near good enough, and that's what's cost him ultimately. So, but he can be extremely proud of the team, of the fight back which they nearly made, and the campaign they've had in the Champions League.
Yeah, and he's also absolutely categorically stating that Champions League football is a must for this club.
Yeah, exactly that. That's what he said. He's got the vision of making sure the club's in the Champions League next season, seasons after, forever, however long he's going to be here. So, like you say, like Wayne said there, that, you know, of course he's going to be unbelievably proud of what the team have achieved, and, you know, they nearly come back. But like you say, I said it before, that the 2 goals has cost them the tie.
We'll talk about knocking on the door. PSG have been doing that, haven't they, for quite a few now. Is this a team, is this a performance tonight, perhaps, that can give us an indication they might be going all the way? Let's hear from their manager, Luis Enrique, is with Gabriel.
Luis, well done. A defeat tonight, but over the 2 games, did the best team win?
I think so.
Simple as that?
Simple as that. You ask simple, I answer simple.
But based on your performances, what pleased you most?
I think if we forget, we cannot forget, because this is Champions League and you have to accept that the opposite team has a lot of quality. Aston Villa was playing with a lot of intensity in the second half, and they scored 2 goals in 3 minutes. In that moment, the match was almost dead. But I have to say, we started the game in a great way, scoring 2 goals, amazing 2 goals, trying to take advantage of the spaces. And I think in the whole 2 matches, we deserve to win. And we are very happy because it's the second year in a row in the semi-finals, and we want to go through the next phase.
Do you have in Gianluigi Donnarumma best goalkeeper in the world?
I think I have the best squad in the world. Not only the goalkeeper, Gio when you have that kind of, or you are in a club like PSG, you have a lot of quality players. Gio is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and I have to say that that match for us, it's something allows us to grow up and try to compete even better.
Yes, because PSG obviously sometimes when being favourites have found it difficult. And at 3-2, are you thinking we might lose again?
Yeah, that's football, and that competition. At that point, they didn't anything to lose because they were losing the first match and also losing in the halftime the second leg. And okay, it's always difficult to play that kind of matches. The atmosphere in the stadium was great, very nice, and I am very happy because we can offer our supporters another qualification for the semi-final.
And now we will see if it's Arsenal. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you.
He thinks he's got the best squad in the world. Is he right?
Well, I hope that every coach thinks that about the team. So that's the minimum. I know they don't. No, but he has all the right to believe so. I think such a young, talented team that he has, and with a good mix actually. There are a few experienced players, but overall he has done a great job. I think much has to do with Luis Enrique, his hand on this team, the way they play, the confidence they have, and the discipline they have in executing the plans. I like it.
Let's set the stage. Aston Villa came into the second leg trailing 3-1 from their trip to Paris. And things looked bleak when Achraf Hakimi and Nuno Mendes struck early, putting PSG 2-0 up on the night and 5-1 ahead on aggregate. Most teams would have folded, not Unai Emery's side. Youri Tielemans gave Villa Park a glimmer of hope, blasting in a reply before half-time. Then it was John McGinn, the captain, leading by example, adding another. Suddenly, belief was back, and when Ezri Konsa nodded in a third, it was game on. PSG were shell-shocked. The Villa crowd was electric. Momentum was all with the hosts. But that final, crucial goal, it just never came. Marco Asensio, ironically on loan from Real Madrid, had a golden chance to equalize the tie but couldn't finish. And so, despite the 3-2 win on the night, Villa bow out 5-4 on aggregate. The bigger picture, Villa exit the Champions League, but not without leaving a statement. They've shown Europe they belong at this level. Emery's tactics, the squad's resilience, and the atmosphere at Villa Park were all top class. PSG move on and will face either Arsenal or Real Madrid in the semi-finals. But they'll know they escaped here. As for Villa, their European dream may be over, but they've got massive domestic fixtures on the horizon: Newcastle, Manchester City, and an FA Cup semi-final with Crystal Palace. No time to dwell. Final thoughts. Villa gave everything. They made the giants of PSG sweat, and almost pulled off one of the greatest Champions League comebacks in recent memory. What did you think of their performance? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to SportLab, and hit that bell so you never miss a post-match breakdown or tactical deep dive. Until next time, stay passionate, stay curious, and keep loving the game.